I'm delighted to speak in this debate. In the time I have, I want to welcome, Minister, the announcement yesterday with your appointment of Professor Mary Horgan to head up an antigen working group. I want to make a few observations. As Chair of the Oireachtas Transport Communications Committee, I wrote to you yesterday afternoon requesting that aviation sector must form part of the terms of reference of this group. It's hugely important. We have held extensive public debates on antigen testing. In fact, I would say, Minister, we've led the way as a committee in a constructive way what we believe the role antigen testing has to play. I think we had Professor Ferguson before us, Professor Minier, and we had Dr. Tony Hoolan, the CMO, and his team. So, Minister, what I want to see is that you'll give a commitment here today that antigen aviation will form part of the antigen testing group, their work programme. Secondly, Minister, within that, the Professor Mary Horgan working group, I think it's important, Minister, that we move from questioning antigen testing to see how we can best use it. And all I felt at times it has been within the system has been, not within government, within the system, is questioning. The bottom line is antigen testing is not foolproof, but it has a role to play. PCR is the gold standard, but there are areas where PCR may not be able to do what antigen can do. One of those being PCR for aviation, 3 days pre-departure. However, no guarantee when you're getting in the plane you don't have the COVID. Antigen testing will pick up that cohort that are at the most infectious. It won't pick up everyone that has COVID, but it will pick up that cohort over that 10-day period that are most infectious. And that's why I think the role it has in indoor dining. So I think vaccination is, for me, the absolute gold standard. PCR then, but antigen. They all have a role to play. So what I would ask is, the terms of reference must include the aviation sector, but it also must be about implementing a structured approach for the role that antigen testing can play in reducing the risk from the coronavirus. And that's about getting people at the most infectious. If you're going with a vaccination programme for people going into indoor dining, then in that particular case, you may have people not vaccinated. Use the antigen. For crying out loud, why was there such resistance within NPHET on antigen? Antigen is not the be-all, but it has a role to play. Let's grab it. Professor Horgan's group must be about no longer questioning, but seeing what role it has to play. Secondly, Minister, and I'd hope that you'd give that commitment today that aviation will be included. Secondly, Minister, I want to very much welcome the announcement this morning on the 18 to 34 old age groups that from Monday they can go to their participating pharmacists to get the Janssen vaccine. In Limerick, like everywhere else, we have a large number of young people. I would encourage them to go get the participating pharmacy and get the Janssen vaccine taken. It'll benefit them, it'll benefit their family, it'll benefit the wider community. It's hugely important. Secondly, Minister, from next Friday, the 30 to 34 age group can go on the online portal for the HSE and register for the mRNA vaccines, right? That would be Pfizer and Moderna. Very much welcome again. And finally then, Minister, from July the 12th, the 18 to 34-year-olds can go on the HSE portal and register for both AstraZeneca and Janssen or. Can I just put out that from next Monday in Limerick, young people in the age of 18 to 34, go up on the HSE website, get your participating pharmacy, contact them and get your vaccine. It will take a worry away from yourselves and your friends and your family and the wider community. And I think this is the way forward. Yes, there is a race against time between the vaccine and the virus. Nevertheless, I very much welcome the fact that you made that decision yesterday to bring antigen in as part of the toolkit family in the fight against the coronavirus. Can I put it this way? Antigen has a role to play that it hasn't been allowed to feed into for the last number of months. In certain areas it has. But I think in terms of reference to the working group, it must be two things. It must be about include aviation in the terms of reference sector. It must be about looking at how we can use antigen testing to its best use rather than questioning it anymore. And it must be about action driven. This must not be, Minister, if this ends up being in the public's minds a talking shop, it will lose its currency. This is about ensuring that it's action rather than talk. I think now is the time to drive on. We have a window of time. On the aviation sector, it's clearly important, Minister, that we get the aviation sector brought in. The digital green cert is coming in on the 19th of this month. It's literally over, it's just under 3 weeks away. Hugely important to farmers in terms of reference, and it's prioritised under it. So thank you all.
Thank you.